Hi, welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. So we've got kind of a more of a pop type of vibe here, just a 3-chord progression. And I guess one way that I was kind of thinking, to make meaning out of this, it could be used in a lot of different ways. But one idea is we're using like blues scale and blues riffs really in a format that's more like pop, right? Uh, and that's probably pretty descriptive of a lot of decades of rock music, right? So different kinds of styles of beats and things have come and go, and different instrumentation, and the sound of different instruments and electronic instruments as they've been invented and so forth. That pentatonic, blues stuff still just runs through all of it. Not just guitar either, but certainly with guitar, it's the premier thing in rock. So this isn't a music history appreciation course or whatever. I'm just what I just told you isn't facts. It's just that's the way I see it. I just watched that intro just now again, and it's it. You don't need me to critique my own. That would be a total waste of your time. It's over. It wouldn't be the first time that somebody overplayed their guitar on YouTube. Let's just leave it at that, right? But I'm going to leave it because it's got the stuff in there that I wanted to work on. It's just there's too much of it, basically. It lacks composition. If we were making a recording or something, we'd be taking those ideas and like trimming away a bunch of them, right? Just get the good stuff and really stretch it out more. So in this portion, I'll approach it more that way. So our progression here is A minor. Let's just turn this on real quick. Let's see where we're at. A minor, C, back to A minor, then F, back to A minor. Okay, and rhythmically it's like a kind of a skanky, I guess rock disco-ish type. Really emphasizing the 2 and the 4 1. Playing in between the snare and the bass and stuff. So, yeah, like I said in that intro, everything is pretty much A minor pentatonic. I think I threw in one like real definite F arpeggio there towards the end of it, and after I play a couple passes through a progression, then I'll usually try to start to branch into more concepts, right? But what you can do so much with this right in this pocket. And it's I think, a good example of how of letting the chords change behind you and kind of staying in the same pocket or groove. And here's what I mean by that. And then we're gonna, parse this out a little bit. But the basic idea here is repetition in our routine within the scale. That probably would have been a better demonstration than what I put in that intro, but I got carried away. So I have fun with that part of the video because I do a few takes and I really, try to, throw down some stuff or whatever. Sometimes that really works out and sometimes it's kind of, overblown. But, when we kind of look into the basic framework of all that stuff, it's just right in there. Okay, so there's a lot of stylization in that intro and a lot of, kind of repetition of really leaning into bends, Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but I think it will serve you best to, if you're still working on kind of what notes to play, right? It's like, hey, all right, before I get to the, the crazy vibrato and all that stuff, just what's going on with this, using these scales, right? And that's what a lot of people are asking me about frequently. So that A minor pentatonic, I'm going to show you two, main shapes. The first one, perhaps you're familiar with. Okay, so I don't mean to just blow through that, but that's, that information's, plentiful with that pattern right there. So if you're just starting with that, great, but really get that, memorized and under your fingers. And the sound of it too, not just the visual locations of those notes, but right away start, backing it up and down and using repetition and making something musical out of it. That leads us into this second pattern. It's going to be the same notes, essentially, starting in different places, ending in different places, as that one. You're starting down here on this G, and okay, and there's the diagram for that. There's a lot of effect on this guitar right now, and I left it that way because I thought it kind of sounded cool with this jam. I do turn the delay effects down when I do the teaching part of the vids, because if you don't, then it doesn't translate well on the video, and you'll hear two notes instead of one, and that's confusing. So I always try to turn that down. So those two patterns are really what's at work throughout that whole intro. And again, we're not trying to copy that solo. Trust me, that would be more trouble than it would be of benefit to you. Even for me to go back and copy it would be sort of a misuse of our time, right? Um, I think this will really help you. Let me put this back on, and then I'm going to stop it and slow down some of the moves. But I'm going to keep it, limited to, a handful of them so that you can really get a hold of them and start using them. Doesn't really matter where you start, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, now again, kind of crammed a bunch of them in there. So, and I realize that's not really how we would play our solo necessarily. Little pieces of that, yeah. And sometimes maybe that's what you're doing. You're starting off with kind of your sketching. You're like, hey, let me try out, audition this stuff and see what I like. Then, each time you go to band practice or you play with that backing track yourself or you make a recording, you become more mindful. Like, I'm going to leave some space there, and then I really like that one lick, and then you compose it, you arrange it more. Right here, we're doing really kind of just an open flow of improvisation. So the scale, the sweet spots in this scale, just like in 12-bar blues, is going to be, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do, but that's certainly one of the real essential things, is that box right there. Okay. Bending up to that note, or playing that. Okay. I'm using a lot of vibrato. It's just sort of a natural thing. I don't really think about it. But if I slow that down. Okay. Some notes are held, some are staccato. Don't try to copy it exactly. Just remember that you want to have variation and diversity in your dynamics, right? Okay. Accenting, right? Dancing with it, right? Not just following the movements of the step. That's the first part, right? What notes to play. But then, you gotta make it funky. Doubling up on those two. Kind of in place of just that note. Okay, that's a great one for this kind of sound. And it goes with every one of the three chords. It is the C chord. It's also part of the A minor. Okay. It's a little bit different for the F, right? But it works. It's like some suspensions and some, there's more tension when you play that over the F, but it all works. And here's one thing that I would say, again, not to make this sort of an axiom, but more of an idea, and you do the experimentation on it, is if you play any lick within that scale that works over that A minor or any of the one chords, repeat it through that whole progression and just see what happens. See if I can be spontaneous and do what I just asked you to do. Let's say we go. another one. Right. Okay. Now, I'm not showing you exact licks here, right? And hopefully you're willing to work with that, right? You can always stop the video and play, hey, I really like that one. I'm just gonna back it up and see what he did there. That's fine. I encourage you to do that. But along with that, do the experimentation, right? And then even if the lick, there you go. Let's simplify it. Play that throughout the progression in different places. I put a little extra. It might sound to you like, oh, he's landing on certain notes every time the same way, or just always planning like where it starts and where it ends. No, that's an illusion, right? And a very cool one, actually. So literally challenging myself to start it in places that are not what I would plan. Okay, that's a little, bordering on more of sort of a philosophical idea there. We won't pick that apart. We'll just let that land wherever it just landed, right? Intentionally doing something non-intentionally. I know it's an oxymoron. It's fun, though. Play around with that. And be pleasantly surprised at what happens when you let go of this notion that we have to plan where our licks are. Okay, that's a really tough obstacle to get through mentally when you really start getting into improvisation early on. But it's important to be aware of that and try to move past that. Let's look at a couple just, more of the mechanics here, and then I'll get you to the practice loop. So, little pickups, sliding into this pattern. Just say if we're using, right, get those 2 or 3 strings involved in that box. Well, you can always just kind of start 2 doors down from where that box is gonna sit. Okay, same thing up here. If your box is, well, your strings don't line up the same way when you're using those 2 strings, right? So that's a great place to do a little slide. Next octave, or bend it back up. Now I do this a lot. I bend this one at the end of phrases and just let go of it, right? Rather than just playing that note, you could do it. Same note, but it's really that, right? That's the more spoken physicality of it, right? That's really punctuates a simple lick like that. lot of that feel is that slide up. Your second, you can use whatever finger you want, but this is going to work out well for this position. Then right back down. You can punctuate it at the end going down, just kind of end the phrase, or doing that bend up. Okay. Just want to give you a couple things that you can really sink your teeth into here. You know, the moves to get up to this position. First thing you want to take note of is that these are all the same notes in different octaves. Okay, so just, you know, do the research on that. Okay. And then you're connecting, right? So these kind of, you know, I know that's a lot right now, but you know, it's, you know, you think, oh, I got down here, then I'm going to move up here, then I'm going to move, yeah, and you do want to do that sometimes. Once you see the little connecting moves to get from here to there, then it gets really fun. Now that's the same note, so that didn't really work out. I kind of doubled up. Yeah. So you've got to pick where you're going to really move to that next position. But some of them are just really, literally the same notes. See? So, you know, learn the positions kind of separately, I guess, is one approach. But then, you know, you'll find your own way of kind of, a lot of times I'm just slipping and sliding to get to the next one, you know, and it's not something that you need to necessarily copy my fingering and stuff. A lot of teaching focuses on that, but I think those are things that really get worked out by individual players, right? And that's one of the areas that I think really where you really coin your own style, right? It's how you move through the different positions. The meat and potatoes of this lesson is really staying in that. I showed you a lot like in that pocket. Also, you know, it would be a little tougher at first, but, you know, kind of get up into this. I think I did that almost exactly in that intro at one point, and I do that a lot. You know, that's just a kind of a run. Gets a little more, you get a little more real estate, you know, under your fingers there as you go. But that's your routine here. Really get it, put that backing track on and really get in there and experiment, right? Don't count how many times I just hit that note. Doesn't matter, right? You get in there and hit it till you can't do anything else with it. Right? Yeah. So just really, this one's really about going back to that, or if you're starting out, that's fine too. Getting into that just, you know, basic position of that minor pentatonic and just really letting yourself go and seeing how much you can dig out of there, right? And I think you'll really have fun with this and put some, you know, some a little bit of delay. And so I've got like it's like a um, vibrato, I guess, type of plugin. It's just whatever's on GarageBand. It's called the Vibe. I love that thing. Um, it just gives it a little bit of that. It's not like a flanger, but it's sort of like a, you know, chorusy sound or something. Sort of like a Phase 90 would have been back in the day. Um, and some delay and just some good, you know, reverb and just really have fun and let those notes just hang, you know, those bends and stuff. All right, I got the same backing track for you here that I've been using in the intro and in this lesson. And enjoy it. Hope to hear from you soon. I appreciate you. Take it easy.